got some issues with your Achilles, that is a reason to be concerned. Period.
Let me ask you this. Giannis said about...
Man, Giannis is crazy. I ain't... Stephen A. Giannis sitting up talking about the Jazz is the best team out west. Man, whatever. He better try to get out of the East. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. I love Donovan Mitchell, but I'm not a believer in the Utah Jazz. What I would tell you is this. You can look good in the regular season. You can look. There's plenty of teams that look good early on, and they folded. The Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis, is a testament to that. They were up 2-0 in the conference finals before folding 4 straight to Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors. Last year, they got buried by the Miami Heat, although it was in the bubble. So the last 2 years, even though he's the reigning league MVP, he's definitely had his issues. Utah is formidable, particularly defensively. This kid O'Neal can defend, and we know that. And Donovan Mitchell is a star. We know that. The best argument I think you can make for the Utah Jazz is that the likelihood is that they might end up being a top 2 seed in the Western Conference. If that is the case, that means you go against a 7th or an 8th seed, which means they get out of the first round, and then things could potentially be interesting. But the way I view them, I cannot see them getting past, out of the second round. That's just how I view them. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on them like that.
Stephen A., let's go to the Eastern Conference for a second. Somebody who's not a 1st seed, 2nd seed, 3rd seed, 4th seed, but actually a 5th seed. What the hell is going on in Boston? Is it time that we put Brad Stevens on the hot seat? Because it feels like this team has the talent, but they don't have the sense of urgency to be the team that we expect them to be.
Well, you can make that argument. The sense of urgency doesn't appear to be there. That's fair. What I would say, however, is that I'm just looking at them right now, and before I think about Brad Stevens, I think about Danny Ainge, and I think about Danny Ainge, who was building a roster, but has never gone for it. He's built the roster through the draft. You've got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You acquired Kemba Walker. We get all of that. One could have argued they could have made a run for Anthony Davis. They refused to do so. Just looking at them right now, it seems like their window of opportunity has passed because they had an opportunity to go for it and didn't do it. Now, they're a relatively young squad. I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both young. And so because of that, clearly they're not finished. And I guess that's the reason you can look at Brad Stevens, because they've got enough quality players to be better than what they are. But I still look at Danny Ainge, because Danny Ainge, to me, he was hesitant to be that guy that just went for it until he acquired KG and Ray Allen to join Paul Pierce, because he was under pressure and he was under the hot seat. And then winning that championship and going to 2 finals in 3 years ever since that time, people look at the rosters that he's had and the hiring of Brad Stevens, who's a quality coach, and they said, you know what, he's good. We're good with Danny Ainge. He's one of the best executives in basketball. And I think because of that, he hasn't felt any level of urgency. And I think that before we get to Brad Stevens, we need to look at Danny Ainge and his sense of urgency or lack thereof, because you got to point to that before you point to anything else.
Stephen A., when I check out, I'm coming back as you, just with a better hairline, so to speak, because right now you're the hardest working man in show business. You partnered up with NBA All-Star Chris Paul on ESPN Plus. You guys got a docuseries coming out. Why not us? Explain to us what that is.
Well, CP3 and ESPN asked me to come on board because CP3 has an incredibly close relationship with Lavelle Moton, the head coach for North Carolina Central. And, this is a guy that has been at NCCU, a historically black college in North Carolina, and during North Carolina, he's been there for the last 11 years. His first 10 years, and 9 of those 10 years, he won a conference title, and he won the regular season title, 4 regular season titles, and 4 conference titles. And what he's done with that program has been absolutely phenomenal. And so CP3 wanted to highlight, just what you have to go through, just not at his basketball program, using his basketball program to really highlight really the plight of HBCUs in terms of needing funding and support, what they're working against, and still managing to succeed the way that this man has. So through the lens of North Carolina Central University, and specifically Coach Moten, we wanted to highlight some of the challenges that come along with overseeing an HBCU program, and in spite of that, the talent that you have coming out there, the lessons that you've learned that transcend beyond the court of play per se, and really talk about what this man brings to the table and how this is what the experience could be like at HBCUs. Even now, it is that way, but imagine what it would be like if it received the support of at least half the support of predominantly white institutions throughout this country.
And with your background, having attended an HBCU, I certainly know this is obviously good. It's going to be a project that's close to your heart. We'll see you on 37 Minutes. First take, top of the hour, ESPN. Stephen A., thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right.
That's Stephen A. Smith, hardest working man.
Now, there may be a legitimate argument, very legitimate argument. We don't know what the hell is going on. We're not inside the walls of that organization, and we get it. But from an optics perspective, J.J. Watt, a star in my estimation, obviously a three-time defensive player of the year. We know what he brings to the table, but he's a guy that's incredibly loved within the community, attached to the franchise, who also happens to be white, simply makes a request to you to let him go. And you say, okay, no problem. But Deshaun Watson wants out, and you've let it be known to the world, we ain't about to let you go. You ain't going no damn place. That's how it looks. And that's a very, very bad look for an organization that has done a lot over the last few months, if not years, to look very, very bad.
You said it right, Stephen. Think about this. This is exactly 1 month ago today. Think about how much stuff has happened with the Houston Texans in 1 month. On January 15th, Schefter put out that cryptic tweet that said if you thought Deshaun Watson was angry on a scale of 2 to 10 when they traded D-Hop, it's now a 10 of 10. That tweet set it off because Deshaun then doubled down on the tweet and essentially confirmed it. That was January 15th. Everything that Stephen A. has said has happened in the last month. The social media extraction, the hiring of David Culley, the situation with Eric Bieniemy, Jack Easterby, Nick Caserio, everything here has gone down. The trade request, it's all gone down in the last month. And I agree with your longevity argument for sure. Deshaun has been in the league 4. JJ's been in the league 2.5 times that. And the other guy that asked for his release or to be traded, Matt Stafford, has been in the league 3 times as long as Deshaun Watson. Last week, Stephen A., you said on First Take, a Texas size swap. Deshaun for Dak. Make it happen. Well, this morning, Stephen A., we asked our front office insider Mike Tannenbaum if he would take Stephen A.'s advice and make that deal. Here's what a guy that's actually made deals for 2 NFL franchises, the Jets and the Dolphins, said about Stephen A.'s statement.
I'm a huge Dak Prescott fan. I'm probably in the minority from a standpoint. I think it's close. I think some people see Watson and Prescott. I'm much closer. That's a really interesting question. I think they would both have to be there, signed, which obviously Dak isn't. So that's a fascinating dynamic. If I was Dallas, I would do it. And if I were Houston, I would actually strongly consider it.
Stephen A., you said it. What's the feasibility, though, that it happens?
I don't think there's a strong feasibility to it because, again, Dak is not signed, and that's the situation right now. What I'm saying is, in my fantasy world, think about what I'm trying to say here. Deshaun Watson is a star. Dallas, America's team, which they don't deserve that motto. They don't deserve that name, by the way. I mean, America, I thought was the land of prosperity and the land of opportunity, not the land of mediocrity. Don't get me started with that. But nevertheless, the bottom line is that Deshaun Watson, throwing to a Gallup, throwing to an Amari Cooper, throwing to a C.D. Lamb, with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, they could do some things with that offense. This brother is spectacular, and I think that Deshaun Watson being in Dallas would be a lovely thing. On the Dak Prescott side, which is more unlikely, first, you got to get him signed. But secondly, and more importantly, the one thing we can accuse the Texans of is that they're hesitant to give up the money because they clearly was willing to give Deshaun Watson that money. And so the chances are they'd be willing to give Dak Prescott those dollars as well. And not only that, Dak Prescott, no disrespect, I don't mean it as a negative, but he's not somebody that ruffles feathers as the star quarterback of an organization. Think about the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Think about social justice issues and things of that nature. It's Dak Prescott who's never called out Jerry Jones. It's Dak Prescott who's never said a negative word about his organization. It's Dak Prescott who's been known to toe the company line and be highly professional and efficient in terms of his performance and his dedication to his craft. And really, that's about it. The only noise that Dak Prescott has made in his career is that he refuses to sign a deal for 5 years with the Dallas Cowboys because he wants 4 instead of 5. And that's through his agent. Dak Prescott has made zero noise whatsoever in his professional career. Matter of fact, one could argue, considering the games that he hasn't missed up until this first injury of his career, he made back pages when he missed a practice, for crying out loud. That's how reliable he was. The only noise that Dak Prescott has ever made is when, in the initial process of COVID, he had a party at his house. And they were saying they didn't know whether it was 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. But he had a party at his house in the offseason. That was it. That's the only negative noise that Dak Prescott has made. So if you're the Houston Texans and you want a star quarterback, somebody that can ball, but at the same time somebody that you can trust is going to go along to get along, that's not going to ruffle any feathers with the organization, I don't know anybody that they could come up with better than Dak Prescott.
Stephen A. Smith joining us this morning here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Let's go to the NBA. How concerned should the Lakers be about this Anthony Davis injury last night in their loss to the Nuggets?
They should be very concerned because it's an Achilles. Although it's a strain, not a tear, and they will know more once the MRI is conducted this afternoon in Minneapolis. The bottom line is